34, a new playoff career high. Welcome to Playoff Central Live. Chris Miles here with Grant Hill and Caron Butler. So the Celtics jump ahead in this series 2-0 and are halfway on their way to a third Eastern Conference Finals appearance in 4 years. Caron, let's start with you. That was impressive to see them down double digits in the fourth quarter and for Marcus Smart to start raining threes. He had 5 in the fourth.
Yeah, I think, Marcus Smart was the huge difference maker down the stretch of this ball game. Now, granted, Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker definitely had their fingerprints all over it. In the Boston Celtics as a collective, defensively, they did much more than enough. But just think about the shots that Smart was making. He went on his own personal run, making, 5 or better threes in that fourth quarter in particular, just knocking down some tough shots where they had to, readjust, revisit how they was going to defend certain situations. And then it opened up for opportunities for Jason Tatum to knock down huge shots. And then Kemba Walker to go in cardiac mode and, yank Ibaka to the side. And we've seen the ending to that story quite a few times.
I know you had to throw your UConn guy in there without me even asking a question. I knew it was coming, but Grant, for you, your Duke guy, Jason Tatum, we talked about him earlier. The stats are incredible. A new playoff career high, 34 for him. Also led all players with 6 assists. Huge for the Celtics.
Yeah, Jason Tatum, part of that big three there for Boston, and just continues to have great performances here and had some big plays throughout the game. There was a play, Kemba hit a shot to kind of, give a nice cushion there. But before that, Tatum had a nice sort of pull up as well. And so, those two guys, that's really the difference. These teams are incredibly similar. They have great length. They're really great defensive teams. You see the score right now. It's you have to work for everything you get. But when you have guys like Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker who can go get a basket, that shot by Kemba, he had 17 for the game. He wasn't really cooking. He had 10 points kind of midway through the fourth quarter, but he has the ability when all else breaks down, when the offense, you can't score within the offense, you have a guy in Kemba Walker who, even though he's not having a great game, can go hit a big bucket. So having Kemba and, of course, that guy from Duke, Jason Tatum, those two guys right there are really the difference makers, I think, in this series.
Can you get me a bucket? That's exactly what Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum were late in this game. So, Grant, I'm going to point to something you said before the game, and it was the fact that you thought the Raptors lacked firepower of being down and being able to come back. We saw the exact opposite for the Celtics. Again, they were down double digits in the fourth quarter, able to come back immediately. So how do they have the firepower that Toronto doesn't have in those situations?
Well, part of that was Marcus Smart. He got hot. I think if you look at that team, he's the one guy you probably would want to leave open if you looked at his percentages. But, he's a mentally tough guy. He's obviously a defender, and he's not afraid of the moment. And so he really kind of got that offense going. And then their defense, I thought their defense really made life difficult for Toronto. They were getting stops. They were able to get out in transition, secondary break. And then you have a guy like Tatum and Walker who can make plays. And that's what, as you go further in the playoffs, to be able to have guys that, okay, you run your sets, you don't have anything, the shot clock's going down, you can put the ball in their hands and they can create for themselves or for their teammates. And so I think a combination of all of that has really contributed to Boston not getting rattled and just kind of chipping away, getting back in the game, and ultimately taking control and getting the win.
Certainly helps for Brad Stevens' team to hit 32 threes in the first 2 games of this series. We'll talk about their defense a little bit later, but Brad Stevens available now.
I have Gary here.
Hey, Brad. Just Marcus Smart tonight. He's long been a player whose intangibles are so significant, but is this really a postseason and a season where he is making that pitch to be at that superstar type of level with the way he affects the game, particularly in the fourth?
Marcus has always affected winning in a big way. He does whatever it needs to be done to win. And tonight we needed a little jolt offensively. We missed some open shots. against that zone, at the end of the third, early fourth. But then he made a bunch in a row and, loosens up the D, and now we can drive the ball. I still think we missed some plays and missed some reads late, but Marcus has been a winning player since he's gotten here. I've said many times, we've been in the playoffs every year since he's been here, and that's not a coincidence.
Question in person, Gary Washburn.
Brad, what did you guys do? They were up 12. You guys were kind of clinging, hanging on. What did you guys do really for? I mean, I know Marcus went off, but defensively, they seem to be a little bit more confused than you guys.
Yeah, and then I thought our little group, when Grant Williams was out there, I thought he gave us great minutes, rebounding the ball and guarding his yard on Siakam a few times, and but then Marcus obviously makes the big shots. But our defense went up to a different level too. They're a hard team to play against. They keep coming at you. Down 12, and then a couple of those threes go in. That game can change pretty quick. But one thing's for certain: when we leave tonight, we know that we got a hell of a battle on Thursday. So get in the ice baths, whatever you need to do, because it's going to be right back like that on Thursday.
We're having some issues hearing what Brad Stevens is saying, but if I can discern what I think he was talking about there is Robert Williams, their second-year center out of Texas A&M. When he was drafted, Caron, here's a guy that was a bit overweight, was a scouting report, maybe not the most disciplined player. Man, he hasn't missed a shot in the postseason. Perfect 10 for 10, came in off the bench and gave them great defense and is in incredible shape and looks outstanding this postseason.
You know what? He's a clear case of when you stay ready, you never got to get ready.